Have you ever mourned a sandwich? Like the sandwich you could have had but didn't?
Yes. And that grief is valid.
Welcome to the episode where we give your unmade sandwich the emotional closure it deserves. Hello and welcome to Adulthood is a Project, the show where two sisters discuss lessons learned and growth earned through the realities of life. I'm Charlie, and this is my sister Casey, and we're your hosts.
In today's episode, we'll discuss grief. We're also going to discuss the ins and outs of how we feel it and ways to use it. Let's get started.
All right.
Audience is
Here
excited.
we go. What, you're excited?
That our audience sounds excited about grief.
You know what's funny? As I hit that, I was like, I feel like we shouldn't be cheering right now. But we always kind of off the cuff our conversation for the most part. But I think, you know what, we're going to probably hit a point where we explain why it is a good thing to cheer for grief, because it's there for a reason. So we'll keep the cheer in there.
Oh, all right. So it's quiz time.
Woohoo!
All
I
right.
feel like I'm on a real winning streak too.
You have been.
Yeah. Good.
I will say, like, this was one that's kind of like, it was hard to come up with questions. So what I actually ended up doing was making it about, like, comfort items that you might use during grief.
Oh, okay. I like that. I mentally was kind of trying to think, like, I don't even know what I would have done for the quiz. So your brain's magnificent, sister. I'm hoping ice cream's an answer somewhere in there.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, yeah. Okay, my winning button's ready.
All right. So, your first question is, what childhood item do many adults still secretly keep for emotional support?
Oh. Oh. I'm thinking a toss up between two items. And I'm gonna go with my first instinct, which is like a blankie or a blanket.
No.
If you tell me that it is a stuffed animal, I'm gonna be so annoyed.
Stuffed animal.
Damn it! That was my second thought, and I was like, nah, I think a blankie's more normal. Oh, okay. Dang.
Right.
Okay. That's what I get for bragging. Starting off not so great.
Bag.
It's okay. I got this. I was at least on the right path mentally.
Okay. This is a wearable comfort item that is known for being oversized and cozy.
Is it can I ask a follow-up question? Is it a current item, or is it something that was popular a few years back, if you will?
It's current. Like, it's, I would say, just think of it as like lazy days.
Okay.
So it's something that you would wear that might be oversized and cozy.
I'm gonna go with a hoodie.
Ding 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. I gotta be honest. The reason I asked if it was current because I was thinking about the Snuggies from back in the day. I'm like, well, I don't think those are a thing anymore.
Oh, who knows?
It's like Snuggie. I'm like, nah. Okay.
Okay. All right. This is a type of blanket that's designed to provide gentle pressure.
I'm just pausing for a moment because I'm like 98% sure I got the answer on that one. What is a weighted blanket?
Got it?
Ding, ding, ding. Yay.
Oh man. Um, okay. Now, which relaxing scent is commonly found in candles and aromatherapy for calming nerves?
I'm between two again on this one. I'm going to go with my initial instinct, though. Is it lavender?
It is. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding. Yes. I I was between lavender and chamomile,
Uh,
but I don't think chamomile has a ton of a smell to it. So I was like, I think that's more the tea wise, as
yeah.
far because it doesn't smell as much. Okay. Whew. Okay.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
What dessert is proven to make you feel better, even if it's just because you eat the whole pint?
Oh, let me get my winning button ready. Uh, ice cream.
Yeah, you got it.
Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
What is it about ice cream though? For real, like I will just eat so much of it.
And it's not, I was like, before you finish with the word pint, I was like, oh, it's going to be chocolate. And I'm like, oh, there's something in chocolate. But ice cream, there's so many flavors.
Yes.
It doesn't have to just be the chocolate. It can be the strawberry cheesecake one and it still gets the job done.
Oh, I know. Is it one like the big chunks of? I would say like my favorite ice cream for like when I'm a little down or whatever. Um, is the fish food, Ben and Jerry's fish food.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like I've had that one a few times. Like I like it. I just don't think of it very often.
Yeah, I love it. It's got the caramel and the marshmallow and the fudgy
Mm,
fish. I'm like, yes, can't be
yeah,
sad.
that would do it for me. I'm just about probably almost any chocolate, like any form of the chocolate ice cream will do it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm definitely like when I'm down, especially when I'm down. Like in a general sense, I want chocolate anyway, but sometimes I'll switch it up and get something different.
Yeah, same.
But definitely being down, I think it would be chocolate. Good one. Yeah. Those are good questions. I liked where you went with that for the comfort. Good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I was like, it's hard to do like just grief. I mean, because you feel grief in so many different situations, right?
for
And then
sure.
and then it's like, but what does everybody do? Everybody's just like seeking comfort. Like if you're grieving in general, you're probably seeking some comfort from something. And who knows what it is? Maybe a big hoodie
Yeah.
and some.
Put it all together, the hoodie, the weighted blanket, throw my teddy bear in there, and give me a pint of ice cream. Like, we'll call it good. And don't disturb me for 5 hours.
Oh,
Like,
oh man.
And you open it up right there by saying we all experience grief so differently and so many times. And I'm like, it was, I think originally people always think of grief as just when someone passes away.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And it's really there through so many different parts of our life. Like it just doesn't have to just go through, it could be the end of a relationship, the, end of a friendship, the end of a job, for some people, like I don't really feel this, but like some people I think experience it as they're like aging when they hit
Mm.
the end of a decade,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I
I think
think,
also it could be for, and I saw something, and I'm trying to remember what show it was on. I was watching a TV show, and what had happened was the kid had came out that the kid was uh, a lesbian and told the mom, and the mom was, I mean, like, okay with it. But, like, what she was trying to explain to the kid was, listen, you need me to just let me sit with this grief for a minute because I had this idea of where your future was going, and
yeah,
I'm not happy for where it's going. It's just I need to grieve the ideas that I had in my head.
wow, yeah, that's good.
Exactly. And I was like,
And
get that because you do, like, you get ideas about the future, not, I mean, for yourself, for your kids, for, for people around you,
yeah,
and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that changes those plans, you kind of grieve for that thought that you had.
for sure. And I think like for me, one of the first times I was really like experiencing it, but not equating it to like all the like levels of grief was, a divorce, especially that first one for me. Man, I wish I'd understood how to work through the grief a little bit better at that time in my life because I'm not even going to admit on here how long that, way longer than it should have, listeners, way longer than it should have. I tell you that right now. Um, and it was interesting. It probably was at least 5 years post when I even started realizing that I was sad for a future I wasn't having.
Yeah.
It didn't even dawn on me with that right away that it wasn't. And, like I said, it hit me like 5 years after that. I'm like, this isn't the future I imagined for myself.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, like, I mean, like, with, like, divorce even, and with that first one, I remember even just being somewhat in denial for quite a while about it. Even though I'm the one that asked for it and everything, I was just like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
We're not actually going to get divorced because he's gonna have this grand gesture and everything is gonna fall back in place and it's gonna be
Oh,
amazing.
I know.
And so, I mean, but I had no idea. I was not in my head, was like thinking, like, you're in a denial phase. I was like, duh, obviously everything is gonna work out. I mean, we're just being weird right now.
Right. Right. I do, before, man, you were on something here and I'm with you. I just thought, before we go too far into this, I really kind of want to point out to any listeners that might not know, or maybe, and God bless you if you don't, like, honest to God, like, hallelujah. There are 5 stages of grief that's just generally accepted. And the 5 stages it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And, it kind of says like there are stages, they're a framework for understanding the process, but they're not necessarily linear. So you're not always going to experience everything in the same order
Right.
for everyone. And I did want to put that out there. Just, I don't even know how old I was before I realized, or like even started looking into the stages of grief. Because again, for a long time growing up, like I really just associated with people that lost a loved one.
Right. Yeah.
And you'd hear about grief counseling, and it was for someone that had someone close to them had passed away.
Right. I would say, so I learned early about the stages of grief. Um, but that's only because um, I I experienced a miscarriage early um, in my younger years, and they provide you with like a booklet and whatever. Like, listen, you're going through some stuff, and I was reading it, and I'm like, well, this makes sense. I was angry for a long time.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. I mean, I remember too, but yeah.
Um, but that but because of that, I did at least have an understanding of like what the phases were for like, I mean, and so, but what's funny is I can even remember though, like with like what we're talking about, like going through divorce or even um and or even like in having a child, which is a great thing, right? But if
Depends who
the,
you ask.
yeah, but there's things like where you're like, oh, like it it doesn't dawn on you that you're grieving something until like, I mean, like for me, I would be like, oh, that makes sense. This is actually grief that I'm working through. Um, and so let me let me now wrap my head around that so I can kind of get myself through it, right?
Right.
A name to your feelings, then you're having a harder time working through
And
that.
I think sometimes that's the hardest part is being able to put a name to it. So in that growing up process and not again, like for myself, I always just associated grief with the loss of a loved one. Like I associate it with death. So as I went through life and experienced many a times of going through grief, I wish that I had understood that it actually applied to a lot of stuff in life. It applied to losing something.
Yeah.
And what, a story I wanted to share was what really kind of brought this topic up, or at least for me in my head when it was discussed between us of, having a discussion about it was last year. Well, not quite a year ago, coming up on it, when I had discovered that I was going to lose my full-time job. And I just sat with it. I told, I think a whopping 3 people, didn't tell anyone else, was like, I need to sit with this. Like, I need to mentally, like, emotionally know how I feel. So, years of working on myself led to me knowing to do that for myself. And it was probably 2 or 3 months into the situation. And I remember getting like angry. Like I was pissed. I was pissed. And in the midst of that being pissed, it probably was like a week and a half into it that I'm like, why am I so mad? Like, I know this is happening. I've got time to prepare. It's gonna be for the best. Like I knew all these good things, but it couldn't stop. Like I was just angry. Like I had this anger inside me. And as I was working through it, it dawned on me that I was like, oh, I'm going through the grief process. Holy shit. I and it like almost shocked me to think I was going through the grief process until I really started thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, that's actually probably normal. Like you're grieving a job loss that of something that you thought you were going to be at for who knows how long. And I
And
think that's what made me start being like, do what?
said like, and your work relationships that you'd
Yeah,
made.
yep. And that's when it made me start really correlating it more with all these other times in my life prior,
Mm.
that it really like officially dawned on me that, oh, you were grieving stuff. And I'm like, you were allowed to grieve that. You just didn't understand that.
Right.
So, in understanding that you're allowed to grieve a lot more things than just the death of someone, it helped me in order to actually like work through it.
Yeah. I would agree. I think, and that's because, like, what I was saying is, I mean, with that first divorce, I was like, I, I did not realize I was going through grief. Period. I did.
Same.
That's what was happening, and it wasn't until I can't even recall when I finally realized, oh my God, like you were grieving, but you were grieving for this future that you thought you were gonna have, right? And for this family and whatever.
Right.
And so it's like you're grieving for something you didn't have in the first place. It was just this idea that was in your head. Um, so, but yeah, and I think if I had actually understood, like, I'm grieving for something, I could have probably worked through that. I mean, it's not like, I don't know. I guess I would say it didn't take me as long to work through my first divorce as it took you. Um,
Oh, I don't think it takes anyone as long as it did me. I'm embarrassed. And honestly, he might listen to the show, but he already knows it, so it's not that embarrassing. I'm a slow learner.
oh man. But yeah, I would say, and then of course, with when Jaybird passed away a few years back, uh there was a lot of grief there too, just and it wasn't I mean, it wasn't over the divorce anymore at that point. Like that's not
Right,
what
because you'd already worked through that level of it, right?
I mean, thank God, because I'd have been a
It-
hot mess. Hadn't.
oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. I would have been too, seriously.
um, I mean, I was already pretty much a hot mess, anyways. But that was just the first. But I understood at that point, like what was being grieved at that point, and
Right.
it's it's this idea, it's this hope that always sat there, you know, in this instance,
Yeah.
this hope that he was gonna eventually, like be sober and really pull it together. And it's, for the life that I saw for him, I saw him having a great life. And
Right.
um, unfortunately. So, but it's okay to grieve for that.
I mean, yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I'm now thinking back to that TV show you said you watched where the mom, was like, it's not like I'm sad about what you're doing. I just have to grieve for the life I thought I was having. And then you're talking about, when Jade Bird did pass away, like you had to grieve, like like the hope you possibly had of something changing at some point. And you think about how many times we have to do that in our lives, especially in our adulthood, that we have to grieve the loss of something that we have to realize like that's not ever going to be what I thought it would be.
Right. Yeah.
I, I, I mean, I've had to do it with a handful of friendships over the years, you know, some of them harder than others. Some of them I'm like, oh, that just kind of faded out. It kind of was what it was. Other ones have hit like really hard and, took some working through. Uh, same with the jobs, I don't know, just all the kids. I mean, not that any of you kids have ever disappointed any nieces and nephews listening. I love you to death. You've never disappointed me. Maybe a pinch or two. Not really. But like you have these ideals. Like even something as silly as thinking about like I remember thinking about like, oh, it's gonna be so fun when all the kids turn 21 and I can go have their first drinks with them. I've had two that I actually got to have that first drink with.
Right.
And, mentally it was going to happen with all of them.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, like, that was a grief, if you will, but it was so small and minuscule. It was like no biggie.
Yeah. I mean,
But you have
shoot.
the way bigger ones.
And I know it sounds so silly, but there's sometimes those moments where like I'll go through grief over like a meal I've cooked where it didn't the way I planned. And I'm
Yes.
like, this was supposed to taste amazing. I spent gin and it just tastes like shit. Like, well, it doesn't usually ever taste like shit, but it doesn't taste the way in my head.
Yes.
And
You're not kidding about that too.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to work through this. Okay, like just don't. And so,
You're mad at yourself, so you have the anger of yourself. Then you deny it. You're like, you know what? It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Then you take another. You're like, maybe if I put a little salt, I can bargain my way through it. And
no, I know. And then, oh my gosh, like
then you just accept it and eat the damn thing.
Big J will be so funny because he's like, I can tell like you're so upset about this right now, but like honestly, Gabe, it's not that bad. I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And he's like, okay. As I'm over there like trying to get myself through my grief over this meal that I cooked.
You're not kidding though. Like that really does happen. And I'm the same way. Like I've had it happen over food I've cooked, for sure. Food I've cooked. I've had it happen over even like, say, taking like a trip somewhere, and you're like, I'm gonna get to the airport, and I'm gonna have time to get through security. Then I'm gonna get my coffee. Then I'm gonna stop by this place because I know they have a really good breakfast burrito, and then I should be able to swing by this other place and grab a quick Bloody Mary before I board my flight. And then you get there and you're like, I got time for none of that shit. Not even the coffee. Get to the gate. Like you're so behind because security was so long or something. And I have to grieve my coffee, my Bloody Mary, my breakfast burrito, and be like, I'm not getting any of that. Then I'm mad at myself because I didn't leave the house earlier. Like,
Yes, you gotta. Yes, I know.
so
That's
I think we really do grieve a lot more than we think we do.
me too. Even those little day-to-day things, like just you're like, oh crap. Or even a book. Like if I read a book and it especially pisses me off when I'm like halfway through the book and I'm in that like, oh, do I want to finish this book or not? And I'm like, no, surely it's gonna take a better turn. And then by the time I
Oh,
end and I'm like, well, that book was shit. And I can't all my time reading it, right on the back. I gotta grieve through my time why it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be.
yeah.
All of
Or I'll grieve that it's over. If it was really good, then I
oh,
have to grieve the fact that it's over and I can't read it anymore.
the story's finished.
Yeah.
Let me go sit in my hoodie and eat some ice cream.
Yeah. Like, you're down to the last like 3 chapters. So just to prep you, like grab your pint of ice cream, curl up with your weighted blanket. And
Oh, yes.
because you did, I mean, grief is so, like I said, interesting because we really do deal with it on such a normal basis from the smallest things to something large. And then, I don't know if you wanted to touch on this or not, but you and I kind of prior to talking about it, it's, when it's someone you've lost, you tend to do like a whole romanticizing of what could have been. And that could be someone that did pass away, or, again, like with a divorce or even a friendship.
Yeah.
And then you tend to romanticize it for, I don't know how, I mean, I don't know how long. I don't think there's a time limit on how long you do that for.
I don't think there is. And I would say like obviously like I would say like the biggest loss at this point in my world would be Jaybird. Um and I do like whenever big things happen with the kids or I mean like when they graduated or
Oh, yeah.
I mean those are moments where I'm like, oh man, he'd have been so excited or when really, I mean, who knows? Like, truthfully, like if I stop and I tell myself, hey, you're romanticizing what would have happened, when in
Yeah.
reality, oh, you don't know if he would have been in the right state of mind to be here. You don't know any of that. But I do. I get very I romanticize him a lot, I would say, like during big events like that. And
Yeah. I
think it's
That
always
makes
gonna
sense.
because I mean there's always gonna be those big things that in my mind, he was always supposed to be in this world with me. So even if we were divorced, like he was the person who was going to be at the kids' weddings, right?
Right.
So, like all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But he's not. And who knows if he really would have been. And I have to remind myself of those things in those moments.
Yeah, for sure. And by no means do I want to diminish that feeling you have with that, because I think obviously the grief over a loved one who's, died, like, is a lot different than the grief over making some different choices for our lives. So I don't at all want to like compare those. But I would say, like, I do understand what you're saying. I've done it even with a friendship, sitting around on a, you know, Saturday night when I'm like, oh man, if that friend was still here, they'd have been doing this with me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Would they have been? I don't know. Like, I don't know, because that friendship has ended or whatever. Or same with an ex, where I'm like, oh, if that person was still around, we would have been doing this probably, or at least laughing about this. I don't know. Like, that was me making up what I thought might happen in my head.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so I do, like I said, I don't want to at all diminish yours, because I think that's a way bigger loss and something, more to work through than when you choose to pull away from someone and you just choose a different path.
Well, and I think that's just, I mean, that's just things that we'll always have to work through, like in all those moments.
Right.
But also, I think what can also happen, and what I try really hard not to do, is because people, whenever, and it's always like when you lose somebody, or whether it's in death or just in I've separated myself from them, is sometimes you only want to remember the good things, right? And
Yeah, for sure.
uh, ever say anything bad about them or whatever. And I am very just, I mean, listen, of course I remember the good times with Jaybird, but there was a lot of bad too, right? Like,
Right.
I can laugh about things now, but I can call, I mean, I was not laughing when he drunk called mom one night. I'm like, doing? You, you cannot drunk call my mother. He's like, answer your phone then. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah. Listen, here's that.
What's that? No,
For real.
right? Like, I don't want to
I think,
pretend like I'm great all the time.
I think sometimes we got to remind ourselves of those times, to remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, or why, Like to ground ourselves a little bit more. Maybe that'd be a good way to put that.
Right.
Like,
So, I
that person wasn't perfect, or that job wasn't perfect, that whatever the case might have been,
yeah.
it held its good moments, but it's gone for a reason.
And you know
I don't
what?
mean that for anyone that's experienced the death situation. Obviously, I don't want to say they're gone for a reason. I meant in other senses.
And I'm like, listen, sometimes it doesn't matter how you fry the chicken. It just is what it is, and you couldn't have done it any better. You couldn't have done it different this way, that way, whatever. Just eat the soup
Yeah,
and be done.
true. Like, you know, the job thing, the most recent for me of the grief, listeners, you can thank her. You can thank her, because if it weren't for that, I don't think it would have stumbled and snowballed into us making this podcast. Like, I don't know if I
Yeah,
would have been as like into it.
yeah,
I
agreed.
mean, I would have been into it, but I don't think it would have been so heavy on my mind, because I would have been like, dude, I don't know, man. I got so much work to do, and I got this going on. Like, I don't know. And let me see what I can do. And instead, I saw it as like this opening. Well, once I worked through the grief, of course, saw it through that opening. I was like, oh, this could be an opening for something bigger and better.
And it has been.
Yes. Yeah. The, yes.
So
So I
yeah,
think it's so funny how we say that, because grief is sad, and there is a lot to work through with it, but there's something to be learned on the other sides of it as well.
yes. And I think just being able to put a name to it and understanding that that's what you're working through sometimes, especially like when you're angry about something ridiculous, like what I was talking about, like with the food. I mean,
Yes.
fine. You're working through a little mini phase of grief is all you're doing. Just hit the acceptance and be done with it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So especially the burnt damn dinners. So I'd say our lesson learned and growth earned is, learn the stages of grief that we talked about here, and lean into them in order to work through them, and be patient with yourself. And remember that grief isn't just reserved for the loss of a loved one. So stay aware of that, and hopefully it can help you work through your emotions in the future, even
Hmm.
the burnt dinners.
In our next episode, we're going to explore the the many sides of you,
Yes.
and you're gonna get our hot take on it. Thanks for listening. Until next time, go out there and be your favorite self.
Yes. And if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a review. We love to see them. We love to hear from you. Write the review, leave the 5-star, click the like button. It helps others find us. And make sure to follow on your favorite listening platform to catch all our future episodes.